Hey everybody, it's me, baby President Barack Obama, and today we are talking about federalism. Yeah, 'cause federalism rocks sucks, you guys. Tell them today! Alright, so we're gonna learn about that, and, then there's only one more thing we're going to be talking about before. Sadly, I won't have to talk to you guys no more. Because, well, there won't be any more projects. I'm gonna miss you guys! Okay, well, federalism, it all started with the Articles of Confederation in the 1770s, which was, like, forever ago. It made a mention of how the federal government was supposed to operate. Supposed to, not how it will. Anyway, this began the journey of the USA's federalism, and it became the first modern national federation in the world in the 18th century. Remember, for centuries, let's say it says 18th century, that means it is 17 something something, not 18 something something. It takes people forever to figure that out. Anywho, the federal system primarily is a style of functioning of the government where political and governance power is shared between political units and a central governing authority. That is known as federation. The government of the USA has been formed in the same way. Federalism in the USA is explained as the changing and developing relationship between the states and the federal government of the USA. The text to follow will elaborate on this more. What's to come is going to tell us more, which is awesomeness. The federal system in the United States is undergoing change all the time and has evolved since the time it was introduced in the Constitution. The Articles of Confederation were responsible for the first spark of discontent amongst the states against the federal government. These were focused on limiting the power of the federal government in the 1790s. There was much discontent as the federal government proved to be unable to handle a rebellion of farmers in Massachusetts as a result of poor economical machinery. The foundation for a bicameral legislature and the construction of a new U.S. Constitution was decided on in Philadelphia. Those who opposed it were anti-federalists. Congress submitted 12 articles of amendment to the states, and 10 of these articles got passed on December 15th, 1791. Wow, that's like 119. That's like 219 years ago. That's a lot of years. Anyway, these became what we now know as the Bill of Rights. The 10th Amendment put there was the guidelines for federalism in the United States. The seeds of dual federalism in the United States were thus sown in the courts from such cases like the ones about equal federalism in the federal government and state. Dual federalism meant that the federal government sticks to the enumerated powers and doesn't go beyond them. The other functions and powers should be left to state governments. Dual federalism was in practice for almost a century following Taney and Marshall, which they had stuff to do with the amendments and whatever. Later in this period, sorry, I think I spelled that word wrong. I don't know how to write, you guys. The demarcation, whatever, became even more steep with local governments apart from state governments and added to the governmental machinery. For example, while the federal government was allotted subjects like centralized national defense, foreign policy, copyrights, and currency patents. State governments were allowed subjects like civil service laws, property law, labor, and union laws. Finally, local governments were supposed to handle issues like accessible improvements and basic public services. This was a huge shift in federalism in the United States. As a result of the Great Depression, the balance of power shifted to the federal government back again because of the downfall of the U.S. economy. The New Deal policies by Franklin Roosevelt seemed to have caught the pulse of American citizens. The New Deal fundamentally compelled the federal government to cooperate with other levels of government for the implementation of the policies under it. This was time when it was called cooperative federalism. Then it was time for new federalism, which is what came up in the late 20th century and early 21st century, which is like now. The pioneer of the shift in balance of power from the center to the states was pioneered by President Ronald Reagan. It was then called a de-evolution state. Some of the presidents until Bill Clinton embraced this philosophy. The main objective of this shift in ideology was to restore some of the last autonomy and power to the states as a result of the New Deal. Well, now you know some more about, federalism, because it's awesome and stuff, Well, next episode will be our last for the government. I'm going to miss you guys then, but I might be able to come back once my writer is in college. Until then, I will miss you guys, and I might be in some language arts projects. I hope so. But yeah, until then, love y'all. Bye!